reading from Brad McElhenney's story at WVMetroNews.com. Limits on uses of wages for political activities by employers and labor organizations, along with required consent for uses of paycheck withholdings, are part of a bill that the Senate has approved on a 21-12 vote along party lines, I presume, and sent to the House of Delegates. Charlie Trump is the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Republican from Morgan County, and he supports the bill. He voted for the bill, and he joins us on Metro News Talk Line. Charlie, good morning. How are you, sir?
Hoppy, good morning.
Why is this necessary, in your opinion?
Hoppy, I've heard from people who are, upset about what organizations have done with dues that they are required to pay to these various organizations. And so what all this bill says simply is that if you're going to use an employee or an employee's money for political purposes, the employee has to consent. And we have a requirement that there's a form they have to fill out, a one-page form to fill out and sign, say it's okay to make that sort of use of their money.
Charlie, as you well know, currently a union member can already in West Virginia opt out. They can say to their employer and or the union, I don't want that portion of my dues that would go toward political activities taken out of my check. They already have an avenue to opt out. So if they already have that avenue, why is it necessary to take this additional step?
It's just the same question in reverse, Hoppy. We think, there are a lot of employees who don't realize and are not told that they have the right to opt out. So what we say is, if you're going to take somebody's money, sometimes money that they don't want to pay in the first place, and use it for political purposes, you have to get their written consent.
Charlie, does it mean, will this law mean that if I am at a workplace and I have health insurance and I'm paying a portion, obviously, of my health insurance, and that health insurance company is going to engage in political activities or political advertising or whatever, does this also apply to that?
No, I don't think so. So that was a question that was raised during debate. In my opinion, the law is narrower than that. The law relates to the activities of the organization taking the dues from the employee.
So it's a dues issue, not a service, not paying for service.
Yeah.
Issue.
So somebody asked the question on the floor during debate about retirement. If I have retirement deducted from my paycheck, do we have to get a form from, the trustee of the retirement plan? And no, in my opinion, look, that's not what the law is designed to do, and that's not what it does.
Senator Charlie Trump is with us, Senate Judiciary Committee chairman on the Paycheck Protection bill, which cleared the Senate yesterday along party lines and now goes to the House. So, Senator, also on this front, Mike Romano, a member of your committee, Democrat Harrison County, on this show yesterday said that, well, this is going to be more paperwork now for businesses. And Republicans are always talking about trying to cut down on paperwork and bureaucracy. Now you're saying to every business that has a union or unions in the workplace that they have to go through this process with every employee there. What is your response? Is that a valid complaint? A, what is your response to that?
Well, no, it's a form, Hoppy, and employers are collecting forms all the time from employees. For how many tax exemptions do you want to claim? Who's going to be under your health insurance this year, et cetera. It's just a one-page form, and quite frankly, with respect to the public employers, it may reduce their paperwork. Because public employers, I believe under the bill, will have the option to say, we're not going to deduct dues for your, union or your organization from your paycheck anymore. So you're free to be a member if you want, write them a check. We're not going to be your, checking account agent for your union dues.
And just to be clear, if you are in the union, you still need to pay the dues that are configured to pay for the representation of you, right? What they call the Beck dues, I think.
Well, until the Supreme Court, it's on appeal now, gives life to the right to work law that the legislature passed last year. we've all spoken to dozens and dozens of union members, Hoppy, who don't want to belong to a union, who say, I'm paying dues. I'm compelled to pay dues to have a job. The union isn't doing anything for me. I don't like the way they represent me. I don't want to belong to this organization. And yet West Virginia is one of the minority of states that allows these collective bargaining agreements to require people, in a way that to me is fundamentally un-American.
Charlie Trump.
You're required to join a union to have a job. We passed the law last year that'll fix that.
And that law,
Workplace Freedom Act.
yeah, and by the way, that law is currently on hold because Kanawha County Circuit Judge has issued a temporary injunction stopping that. Obviously, it's going to go to the state Supreme Court, as you mentioned. The argument, Charlie, and you're a lawyer, the argument by the unions, by labor, is that, well, this is an illegal taking because you're requiring us to represent workers and they don't have to pay for it. It is an illegal taking. What is your response to that?
My response to it is as simple as it can be. It is a false argument, Hoppy. And here's why it's false. The national labor laws make absolutely clear that unions have the right to decide for themselves whether they want to represent only their members or all the members in a workplace. Now, unions like to choose the latter,
right?
Because for lots of different reasons. But the law recognizes that there are members-only unions. And so the unions say, well, we have to represent everybody is absolutely false. They could choose to represent only their members.
And Charlie, finally, and you're judiciary, you're working on that side. You're not, you're sort of tangentially connected to the budget issue, but everybody is at some point connected with a budget issue. Is the Senate tomorrow, are Senate Republicans going to roll out their long-awaited budget plan tomorrow? Do you know? Or today or tomorrow or Friday? Do you know?
We're working assiduously on it. Hoppy. It is, and even though I'm not on the Finance Committee, I'm on the Judiciary Committee. As you mentioned, all of us have our oars in the water on that issue, on the budget, because that is, the paramount issue this year. And I don't know whether it'll be tomorrow per se, but it will be very soon. I will tell you that.
Charlie Trump.
And we're hoping that we're going to be able to deliver something for consideration by the people of this state that we hope our colleagues in the House will be on board with, and quite frankly, that we hope the governor can adopt. He has proposed a few things that we are incorporating in our work, and we want to work together with the governor.
Charlie Trump, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman, Republican, Morgan County. Charlie, always a pleasure. Thank you for coming on, sir.
My pleasure, Hoppy. Thank you.
All right, take good care.